Thanks for staying with us. It's still in the game, and we're still talking about the COSAFA Cup, which begins today. I said earlier that the bunch of the games that we'll be playing today has to be South Africa against Namibia. For Namibia, they were the runners-up last year, losing to Zambia by a lone goal. That last second strike denied them a second regional title, having won the title in 2015. For South Africa, they were the champions in 2021 and we're looking to reclaim the title they lost last year. So it's a big one. And the South African coach, Morena Ramoreboli, is speaking ahead of the match itself, saying that the tournament is indeed an opportunity for players to express themselves and showcase the talents that they have. Well, we're now being joined by J.C. Jackson Kauraisa, who is a sports journalist right there in Windhoek, Namibia. Jesse, it's good to have you on the show this morning. Good morning.
Well, a very good morning to you again, Samson, and it is indeed a privilege being again on your show. We are excited. You know that it is the COSAFA Cup, as you stated, and the big one is between Namibia and South Africa.
Okay, let's delve into it. You've taken the Bulls by the horn, so I'm just going to follow your lead in that sense. What does this tournament mean for Namibia especially? I know quite well that they won the tournament in 2015, but they've not been able to replicate that success ever since. Got so close last year, losing, to that last second strike. What does this tournament mean to Namibia in terms of football development in the nation?
This tournament for Namibia, we take it very seriously because we hardly compete in big tournaments, and this one we consider it big, and that's why you can see that we always sometimes field players that are playing in let's say in South Africa, players that are playing locally as well, big players. If you see the squad that's playing today, you can tell that this tournament we regard it highly, and for many of those players that are playing there, especially the ones that are playing locally, I think this is always a very big chance for them to be seen. We know that the South African Premiership is currently in off-season, but it will start soon with their pre-season preparations and all. So the players would love to impress. And this tournament is big for us because if you look at most of our players that have gone on to play in South Africa, for clubs in South Africa, they have actually been scouted at this tournament. Players that have gone on to Botswana or elsewhere, mostly been scouted at this tournament because we are always there, and it is a tournament that you stated correctly that we have won before, finishing up as runners-up last year.
Okay. Let's before we delve, to the match itself against South Africa, let's look at what this tournament means to the region. We know quite well that when it comes to regional tournaments like this, there's always that rivalry between various nations. Looking at the COSAFA Cup, what do you think it means in terms of importance to the nations right there participating, 12 of them in particular?
No, this tournament is very big for Southern Africa. Indeed, it is the biggest Southern African football tournament. So it speaks volumes to the development of clubs, of football teams, that they are able to express themselves on the field. They are able to field at least players that they can observe, because most of the football teams, if you can see in Southern Africa, use this tournament as an observation for players that are coming up, or for players that they could have future plans with. And there's nothing as big as this. Yes, the COSAFA tournament, over the years, the state has a bit dropped. We know that it was massive back in the day. Stadiums were packed to capacity and all that. But I'm sure credit to COSAFA that they are actually bringing back that hype. And hopefully, in the near future, we will be able to see full stadiums again. Because, mind you, it is the Southern African tournament, and as for Southern Africa, I think it plays good for football development in terms of testing your players, in terms of just having been represented at such a stage So I just feel like more needs to be done, especially from the football fans, to grace their presence and just bring back the glory days of this tournament, because I think over the past few years, little attention has been given to it. And you see that by the players the teams actually select, and that back in the day, you could see that players that were being selected were top calibers. No disrespect to those ones that are in the teams right now, but we know that back in the day, teams, the rivalry was so intense, and this tournament meant a lot for them. So I believe it means a lot also for many of the players and for Southern Africa in general.
Okay, in wrapping up this discussion, Jesse, let's look at today's match. It's a big one, as I said, the rivalry is there. What are we to expect from the match between South Africa and Namibia, and which players should, we watch out for in the Namibian squad?
Well, I think if you watched last year's COSAFA, Namibia did very well, and we had a young player by the name of Betwell Mudeu. Such a great player, such a great full force player that is always willing to give his all. And I'm sure today he will be part of that team. He has gained experience, has been playing a couple of matches in the divisions of South Africa. For me, I think he is a player to look out for. There's also a player called Gero Katwa Akanyuka, who's also in the midfield, in the middle of the park, a very good defensive midfielder. So he will be there. Reverend Batu is coming all the way from the south side of Namibia, a very good player that has been playing for the young Brazilians. In terms of the match itself, I'm sure that if you see that we have played 11 times against the South Africans, and they have gotten the better of us most of the occasions. But I'm sure that today, it is a different ball game. We have fielded players with quite a lot of experience. While I'm sure South Africa will be there trying to test a lot of their development players and all that, we do have some senior representatives in our team, making this game very important. So I believe that we might just edge South Africa, but South Africa had hope, and they could beat us because the head-to-head favors them.
Okay, it's all right. Well, we wish both teams the very best. Thank you so much, Jason, for your time on the show this morning.
You're welcome, Samson, and it has been a privilege being there.
Thank you so much.